Hi, I'm Jason from StrataGames, and today I'm playing some more Pauper. This is Mono Black Sacrifice, a deck that I've already played a couple times on the channel and have been loving. It roped me in a lot faster than I thought I would. There's just a lot of really intricate lines. It doesn't play like any other deck that I've played before, and there are a lot of times where you can sack all of your giant, really cool creatures just to get in for lethal, which is obviously great. So the deck operates by getting a creature that grows when you sacrifice things, either by sacrificing them itself, like Carrion Feeder, or one that grows alongside other things sacrificing, like Mortician Beetle or Gixian Infiltrator. Then it uses a bunch of fodder, like Nezumi Linkbreaker and Infestation Sage, which when they die, they give you another creature back, or Greedy Freebooter and Shambling Ghast, which give you treasures and some other incidental value along the way, and you sacrifice those to make your creatures enormous. We also have Deadly Disputes and Village Rites, which also allow us to draw through our deck and act as our other sacrifice outlets. Reaping the Grave is a very powerful card for this deck, because whether you've sacrificed all of your creatures or your opponent has killed and countered them along the way, Reaping the Graves you can just wait until your storm is up big enough to buy back every single creature from your graveyard. There are also some really interesting loops that you can do, which I was able to show off in a previous video, so make sure to check that out, and ideally we'll get some today as well. A couple Snuff Out is important to have against any Glee deck, or Terrors, or any other deck like that. And then, the problem that I was having with this deck, I started recording every match that I played. I've only played 2 leagues so far, and we've gone 3-2 in both of those. 3 of our 4 losses have been to Kuldotha. Every single time we've gone up against Kuldotha, we've died, and so I didn't think the deck was viable, honestly, because it was just dying too much to Kuldotha. Love Crayons, the person who created this deck list that I started using, did have a couple Unexpected Fangs in the main deck to help get you some life gain to offset that matchup, and then also some Weather the Storms in the sideboard. But I have found what I think is the key card for the deck. Ideally, I'll be able to prove this, though who knows if we'll go up against Kuldotha. Sylvok Lifestaff, though. This is a card that pops up every so often, usually in sideboards against mono red in general, but this, I think, is the perfect deck for it. Every time the equipped creature dies, you gain 3 life. Equipped for just 1, it also gives a slight power boost. So even if we're not against mono red, if we're just against some mid-range or other aggro deck, even tempo deck like Terror, we sacrifice so many creatures that we can stay above them and trade blows while keeping our life total very high. A very weird way to think about this is this kind of adds kicker to each of your sacrifices by paying an extra 1 to gain 3 life. So you sacrifice so many times that it's just going to be great. And against mono red, whether you're sacrificing the creature or they're just bolting it, you're going to gain the 3 life either way. So I think this will help keep us afloat against mono red. Ideally, we'll be able to show that, and it'll actually work out. We also have a bunch of Swamps and Vault of Whispers. The other main deck change that I made was I put in 1 Dross Pits. There have been some games where I've been flooding a little bit. Even with only 17 lands, I've drawn 9 or 10 lands in the first 20 cards of our deck, and obviously variance, that just happens, but I think just having an out so that one of those lands could turn into a relevant spell could be really good. Now, this is an aggro deck with a lot of 1-drops, so having a tap land is harmful, but mono red has been able to do it pretty well with the Autumnus Furnace. The Autumnus, Mr. Tumnus Furnace, whatever. So I decided to give it a try. I am going to be keeping track of how many times the entering tapped is significantly detrimental and how many times the card draw is significantly impactful. So we'll see if it ends up being worth it, but that's what we have for now. For the sideboard, we have 2 more Sylvok Lifestaffs. If we do go up against mono red, we're going to want 1 or 2 of these in every single game. So I just wanted to make sure that we have those to shore up the match. A couple Rotten Reunion for graveyard matchups, which stays in theme, making us tokens, Cursed Marauders for Bogles, Mesmeric Fiends for any combo decks, Snuff Out for Broodscale, and then I wanted a little bit, I had 2 extra slots in here, and I wanted a little bit of board clear. I was originally going to do Suffocating Fumes. After watching another one of Love Crayon's videos playing this deck, they had suggested Death's Head Buzzard. I don't know how well it's going to be, but it fits in our theme a little bit better because it's sacrificable and can come back to our Reaping the Graves. And -1/-1, it does hit both players, so we need to be aware of that. But if we have a sacrifice outlet, ideally we could just sacrifice all of our creatures that are going to die to it before that goes off, and wiping their creatures will hopefully be a big enough benefit. So let's jump into some games and see how these changes do. All right, round 1 here. 1 land is not great, but we do have a Village Rites to draw out of it, a lot of fodder, no other sacrifice outlets, although the Dispute, and we do have a Lifestaff, so if we're against red, or really just any deck that beats us down pretty quick, it could be okay. Obviously, if we don't draw out of 1 land, we're not going to really have the mana for the Lifestaff, but with the Village Rites, I think I'm comfortable keeping this one. Opponent goes to 6 and plays a Gardens, so not probably going to be a deck where the Lifestaff's very relevant. We're going to start with the Sage. It's possible that we'll be able to fly over, get in for a little bit of damage. If they're Broodscale or something, we want to get damage as quickly as possible. Looks like they just leave up a Dispute. Another Lifestaff. Well, we only have 2 in the main deck, so a little annoyed by that, not going to lie. I would like it if we're against red, but that's not the case. They're going to block here, get their card draw, the Dispute. I could just play a Link Breaker. Obviously, if we don't hit a land here, this Rights is pretty bad, but we can get rid of a Lifestaff. I think we want to get a land pretty badly. Let's hope that happens. It does not. Well, things are looking rough now. Another Garden, another Beetle. Swing for 1. Am I just Rightsing this away to hit our land drop? I mean, I'm guessing it's Broodscale. We're not going to win if we don't have either a Snuff Out in hand or start making some land drops, so I think we are just going to go for it. Okay, we found 2, so that's nice. We can get down a Mortician Beetle now. Obviously, a little behind and wish that was earlier, but might be okay. Most people, understandably, don't realize that Mortician Beetle triggers off of any player sacrificing a creature, so that's one reason that this card is really great in the meta right now, is that Broodscale and just in general Eldrazi spawn are everywhere. And also Deadly Dispute effects are everywhere. So there's just a lot of value you can gain from it. Like this Shambling Ghast is not going to be able to kill it because it's already outgrown from them sacrificing. And they do choose the Ghast, seeing as it was that or Swamp. They have another Garden. Ghast and Duress in the graveyard pretty much solidifies its Broodscale. So we need to go fast. We also need to find Snuff Out pretty bad. There's a Ghast. I can play our Ghast and Deadly Dispute it. Dispute's essentially free on the Ghast because we get both our treasures back, unless we want to ping off one of these, which I don't think we do. That gives us 2 draws, and then lets us play one of these. I think that's good. We'll do this first in case we get anything else that we want to sacrifice. I mean, I assume this will get chumped, but it's only a couple damage right now, so maybe it won't. Village Rights and a Sage. What else am I playing? If they have it, I think we just have to die this turn. I think we need to get a Beetle online, and I think I want to get a Sage down. I guess I don't have to. But if I just play the Beetle, Village Rights is a panic button on our Beetle in order to try to find a Snuff Out. I guess that's probably better. You can just play these guys next turn. So yeah, I guess no reason. I mean, we still are in trouble if we don't find the Snuff Out in the top 2, but no reason to go fully shields down here, I suppose. They have a Ghast. I guess we knew they had a Ghast, so that's actually, I mean, a reason to have the Village Rights up for this, but also, I guess if they don't have a way to sack it right away. Oh, I guess if they sack this, the Mortician Beetle will grow first, unless they do it in our turn, which they don't. Okay, now I think we play a Sage, and we Village Rights this Sage. It's our only sack, so if they have a Dispute in response to kill our small Beetle, they'll get us, but if not, we'll be okay, and they don't. There's our Snuff Out. Okay, feeling a little better. And a Deadly Dispute, so I can swing with both of these, and if they try to kill this one, we can Deadly Dispute the Insect. I think I like that. This way we're getting it for 6 if they just take it. They do block the Beetle here. Only reason to block the small one would be to ping it off, but I think I'll let them do it so that they at least don't get the treasure from it, rather than Deadly Disputing the Insect right here to get an extra damage in, which would allow them to... Oh, they get the treasure anyway. Well, then why did you chump the small one? Okay. Unless they have something else to try to deal this one. But I don't think we're playing around that. I think we're just playing out a Link Breaker. And is there a reason to not play another Link Breaker? Just to go even more aggro? I think we just will. Lifestaff doesn't really matter in this match. It's definitely coming right out of the main deck because if they combo, life gain doesn't matter. They're also going to Eviscerators the plant. Okay, I'm confused about that chump. Maybe they thought they were going to do it and then decided they wanted the treasure. Not sure. Okay, well, they have Duress, so that obviously takes Snuff Out. If they have the combo, we die. But couldn't do anything about that. They took the Deadly Dispute. Okay. So they don't have the combo, or they have another Duress here? Okay. I mean, that means they can't... If they played a Swamp this turn, I don't think they can... They could combo, but they couldn't finish it off with a Nightblade unless they have a Refractor or something. This turn, at least. Okay. Vault is fine. So we swing, we get in for 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. I guess they didn't know we had the vault, so this shows that we don't have anything additional. So I should have held the vault just to bluff. Because I guess they could just take this. It's only 11. So it's possible I should have played the Lifestaff to make it lethal. But I kind of just want to hold up Reaping the Graves on the off chance that they don't kill us. We can Reaping back our guys. Because we got 3 in the grave. They do block here. And safekeeping, okay. Yeah, doing what they can. Link Breaker, I mean, they know the 2 cards in our hand. So I guess we might as well just Reaping back our 3 guys while we have Storm enough to do so. And if they got us, they got us. Start with a Wellspring. It doesn't immediately kill us. There's a Nightblade. And another, okay, we're not dead. Carrion Feeder is great, because that makes both of these Mortician Beetles lethal. And this Shambling Ghast can pick off the spawn, which means they have to chump with both Nightblades. Sylvok Lifestaff doesn't matter, so yeah, let's just do that, I guess. Pre-combat, we will sack the Ghast. Pick this off to make it so they have to block. They're going to sacrifice it, which doesn't give them any benefits, but it grows our Mortician Beetles more. Unless they have something to use this 1 mana on. We get to swing with the team. If they don't block both of these, they will die. Okay, they do realize they were going to block the Link Breakers. So no reason to sacrifice anything now, because we're getting in for enough, and we don't want to lose these. So we will put them to 7. If they didn't have the combo last turn, even if they find the Glee or the Broodscale and had the Glee, they would need another Nightblade, so maybe they get there, but they have a Wellspring. All right, got there at game 1 against Glee. We get more Snuffouts and Fiends. This is not the match for Lifestaff, so we get to take those out. And 4 more. Kind of a lot. Do we just take out the Freebooters? I think those are the worst of our 4 sack fodder. And I don't really like getting rid of card draw or reaping in this match, I don't think. We are bringing in just as many sackable creatures, although they're more expensive. I think we do. Until I have a better game plan, this is what we're going to do. This opener looks solid. Enough mana, Carrion Feeder, and some fodder. They have a landscape. Find a swamp. We're going to start on the feeder. They don't have a ton of removal, usually. I guess if they have a Ghast, they can pick it off, but they would need a way to sacrifice it for 1 mana. That seems unlikely. Rumble into Broodscale or a swamp. They choose the Broodscale. As always, we need to find some Snuffouts. Reaping, okay. If we think they have the combo right now, we kind of need to hold up a Deadly Dispute, but our only thing to sacrifice is the Carrion Feeder. We could play out Ghasts and sacrifice them to make treasures. I guess if we're worried about it, we can play Ghasts and kill this spawn, or we can just play Ghasts, and if they go for the combo on this turn with no adapt, we can Shambling Ghast down the Broodscale. Okay, well, we're only going to get in for 1 damage this turn, but I think we're just going to leave these up. Again, I could sack 1 to kill the spawn, but it's not that hard to get spawn back. I think we'll just swing for a damage here. Okay, we're not just dead to the combo, which is nice. They have a garden, and they play the Broodscale out. Okay, so I could kill that at any time. Another Reaping. I could Infestation Sage, Deadly Dispute, sack the Ghasts, ping off the Broodscale, and then Reaping all of it back. That seems kind of decent. Let's just start with the Deadly Dispute to kind of see what's up. Sage is what's up. We can get in for damage here. They take it. No reason to sack these. We're dealing just as much. So that's 3. Oh, if we sack these and get them back, we don't have them on the field, and then we can't kill the Broodscale in any way. Question is, should I just kill the Broodscale now? If they have another one and a Glee, it's pretty bad. But if they just play a Glee, I try to go for it, they can adapt in response. I guess if they cast a Glee, I can kill this spawn, but then they adapt after, and I don't have anything. I think we gotta kill this Broodscale. We just don't really have much else going on. So we kind of gotta keep it off the field. If they have another one, we're just dead to it. But they don't know that. Could still have a Snuff Out and just be doing this either way. They have a Rumble. Finds another Broodscale. They choose the Swamp, though. So that's 3 Broodscales down. Okay. I don't know if they're playing Witness, which could get them back. I didn't really want another Reaping. It's kind of a lot. I could, well, we're going to play this Sage. I could Reaping for 2, buy back Ghasts, but I can't play them both unless I'm just sacking them right away. I could get them back and then just make a giant Carrion Feeder. I don't think we're doing that. They didn't take the Broodscale, which confuses me. Do they have another one in hand? Or did they just really need that swamp? They probably have a Deadly Dispute here. They could have used that with an Eviscerators. Or rather, a Spawn. They do cast the Insight. So I could Reaping for 3 here. Get back all of our guys. Play out a Ghast. I could wait till their turn. Do I think they're going to cast more than 2 spells without winning the game? Probably not. Yeah, I think we're just going to go for it here and play out a Ghast. It's the only interaction that we have, so we'll do it. I guess since it doesn't really interact with the Broodscale, they have a Duress. I mean, that's fine. We don't need all these Reapings. They do know the coast is clear, though. It is bad if they still have it. They do have the 4th Broodscale. I mean, it makes sense why they didn't take the other one, but that's kind of a lot. I could sack this Ghast now to ping off a Spawn. Does that matter? They probably just have an infinitely sized creature, maybe a couple Wellsprings. So I have to find a Snuff Out either way. I don't think killing a Broodscale does anything. You just make it a 5/5. Vault of Whispers does not cut it. I mean, I can make a big Carrion Feeder, play these out, Reaping them back. Well, sack all of them, Reaping them back. But they get a bunch of Spawn, and their guy's obviously going to outpace ours. So all we have is an insect in the air and hoping that they don't kill us. They choose to swing. Interesting. I mean, it makes more Spawn for them. I'll block with our Sage and make it fly. I guess it lets our Feeder attack, but like they have chump blockers, so it doesn't really matter. There's a Wellspring. Dispute. And there's the Nightblade. Alright. I think we just run it back. We didn't see a single Snuff Out or Mesmeric Fiend. I think we did okay considering. We were able to kill 1 Broodscale. But yeah, I mean, if we didn't hit any of our 8 important cards. I mean, this is double Snuff Out. I don't think we have enough of a proactive game plan to make this worth it, though. Like, even if we stop them, if they are playing Chrysalis, which I don't know if they are, but like anything they do is just... this isn't going to work, unfortunately. This is better. We don't have any interaction. We do have the Dross Pits, but I can get rid of it. I think we will, because I think we're just doing turn 1 Mortician, turn 2 these two, unless I want to get rid of the Reaping, but I think Reaping might be better. They have a Shambling Ghast. No way to sacrifice it, though, so our Mortician Beetle is safe for now. Deadly Dispute. We get to just play a Feeder, which looks terrible because they could trade for both, but then a Link Breaker makes it all worth it. And we'll swing. This does accelerate them with the treasure, but it's okay. They're going to take it. We have a Deadly Dispute, so I think I want to keep one of these, but I think we will sack once to deal a little more damage. This also makes it so that if they sack the Ghast in response to us triggering this, that we don't lose either of our guys. I think this is probably for the best. Now it looks like they have a Deadly Dispute. We get a Village Rites. We're going to pump the Carrion Feeder and attack. We block. We'll go to damage. I assume they're going to dispute first. Make a treasure. This does make our Beetle bigger, which is why we pumped this one. I could also sacrifice our Mercenary token here in response. I think that's fine. Grow the Beetle again. Looking as always for Snuff Outs and things. We got a Link Breaker. So 4 damage to them. And we'll play that. If they don't have the crazy fast combo, this looks pretty decent. They would also need something to kill after they assemble the 2 cards. They're off of green mana except for this treasure token, which is pretty decent. Wellspring and a Rumble. Alright, let's see what they find. Tamiyo's Eviscerators, so a landscape is green or their Nightblade. They choose the landscape. It's a slow green though. Next turn. No reason to Village Rites this with our treasure. Might as well just do it on our turn. Infestation Sage. How much damage can we do here? We have 6 right now. Sacking a Link Breaker is 2 more. And then each creature we sack is 2 more. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have 14 damage if we sacrifice everything to the Carrion Feeder, which if we do a Village Rites is going to be 1 short. But they also obviously have a Spawn. So I could use the Village Rites. If we find any creature, we can still present lethal. If we find a Shambling Ghast, we can kill their spawn and kill them. So I think it's worth going for the Village Rites. We don't have a Shambling Ghast in graveyard, so there's no Reaping the Graves line yet. So I think we just do this and hope we draw one. There's another Sage. So they can chump, which is not great for them, but it's better than nothing. We play this out. 7, this is 13, so I still have to play out this Sage to force the chump. So we will do so. If they don't do the math, they might take it. I assume they will, based on how they blocked earlier with the Nightblades in game 1. They do. I think we're still putting some counters on this bad boy. Certainly these two, it's only 4 damage. They go to 10, but this is flying, and this can pump a flyer, so it can be just as much damage there. So I think we'll just leave it at that. All right, and they were not able to get there. Nice. I mean, they stumbled on mana, but a win's a win. Which is great, because we, again, did not draw any of our 8 sideboard cards. So, round 2 here. Beetle, Ghast, Reaping, Snuff out. No sack outlets at all. It's pretty rough. In general, I think that's probably a mulligan. You have interaction and a way to get them back, but nothing's even putting them in the grave. It's not great. And yet, I mean, it's one Carrion Feeder away from being pretty good, as most hands are. Since we don't have a sack outlet, I don't think there's a reason to play the Mortician Beetle 1. I think we'll play a Ghast. Better if they have removal. Better if they have Tomb Raider. That's a Valdaran Epicure. Ghast is pretty decent against them. We do get the Deadly Dispute. So I think I just want to hold up Ghast and Deadly Dispute it so that we have enough mana to play like a Beetle, Infestation Sage, and ideally draw something else. We have a Chain Lightning to the Dome. That's fine. I guess I could have Deadly Disputed in response and gotten a Chain Lightning of our own. Rakdos Carnarium. Okay, so it's Madness, not Mono Red. They're not going to swing. I'm going to Deadly Dispute this. I don't think I care about this Epicure enough to kill it. I think we'll just get another treasure. Village Rites and a Beetle. Link Breaker. Okay. Things are happening. I can play all 3 of these. In fact, I could just play Beetle, Sage, Village Rites to grow our Beetle and potentially draw something else like a Deadly Dispute. Getting this out of range of a bolt is ideal. It's going to be tough without a Carrion Feeder, so if we can find a Carrion Feeder, that would be great. I think that's why we're going to do it right now. Draw 2. Lifestaff is great in this matchup too, because life gain is great against a burn deck. So do I actually just want to play Lifestaff on this Beetle for when they bolt it? It takes up both of our treasures, but then we start putting this on this insect. If they have a kitchen imp, we put it on Link Breaker. I think that seems good. We want to gain as much life as we can. This is the secondary matchup that Lifestaff is in here for. Kuldotha is the one that's like 15% of the metagame. This deck's more like 2 or 3%, but it's still a serious contender that we would have a lot of trouble with if we didn't have it. So they Chain Lightning it. Understandable and fine. Not great, but hey, we gain 3 life and they don't deal us 3 damage with their Chain Lightning, which is great. They also discard a Kitchen Imp but don't have mana for the Madness. Either they're really desperate or they said oops. So yeah, they meant to play a land first, it sounds like. That is good for us, very unfortunate for them. They have an Epicure. Swing with their guy. I don't want to trade this insect because it can trade for an imp. Also, I don't really want to trade anything if it doesn't have a Lifestaff on it. Carrion Feeder's not bad. So I think this turn we're just suiting something up with a Lifestaff, playing a Link Breaker and a Carrion Feeder. Probably suit up the Link Breaker so that if they want to swing in, we'll trade. Yeah, I think that's good. This is a turn where the Dross Pit's coming in tapped. Not a big deal. So that's... we don't get any negative points for it so far, which is great. Jagged Barrens, we take a damage. They have an Alms of the Vein, so we're going to be at 13. And they have a Bolt for the Carrion Feeder. So I can keep the Carrion Feeder alive if I want to lose all 3 of our guys. But we only gain 3 life off of that, and we can just get this back with the Reaping, so I think that's fine. I think I'm totally fine with this. I could have just sacked the Link Breaker first, but I'd rather make it so that it's more costly for them to attack. Like, they get in for 1 damage, but they lose a guy and actually go up by 2 life. So this feels pretty good for us. So already this Lifestaff has gained us 6 life, 2 bolts worth. Mortician Beetle's not bad. We already have 5 creatures in grave, so I think we're saving the Reaping the Graves for if they get like a Faithless Looting turn. That does mean that I can't Beetle and Sylvok Lifestaff this turn, though. The Beetle doesn't need to come down, though. We're not sacrificing anything. So I think it's fine to just suit up this Mercenary as a blocker, swing for 1. If they have a Kitchen Imp or something, we'll just suit up the Insect next turn. This probably will just prevent them from attacking at all, but that's okay too. And then hopefully they cast 2 or 3 spells with the Reaping, and we can get back a sizable chunk of our creatures. Start with the Barons. They are going to swing. Well, I will take that trade. Gain 3 life, and they're going to pass. On the end step here, we have enough mana, things that we're not going to sacrifice the Dross Pits yet. We have a Reaping the Graves, we have a second Reaping the Graves, and we have a bunch of creatures in Graves, so we want 4 lands at the moment. 21, Beetle still doesn't do anything, so I'm just going to suit this up, start attacking for 2, and the moment they play a flyer, or any creature really that I want to leave this back with, I'll start leaving it back. But until then, I think we're just on the beatdown plan. We're at almost as much life as them, and they have few cards. They have a mountain here. Deadly Disputes, not bad. We'll probably play the Beetle here, and if they want to try to bolt it, that's fine. We'll just Deadly Dispute it. They have a Grab the Prize with a Snacker. Okay, that's 1 spell. And just pass. I don't really want a Reaping for 2. I don't think we need to. Gixian is not bad. I think I'll swing for 3, play the Gixian, and pass. I might Deadly Dispute this Insect on the end step to grow our guys, gain 3 life. They're going to swing with the Snacker. Yeah, if they want to bolt in response, I'm fine with that, but the gain 3 is pretty good, and I want to use up our mana. They do hardcast a Temper on the Infiltrator, that's fine. One of these days we'll get this Reaping the Graves off, and when we do, it's going to be pretty good. We have another Gixian and a Sage. I think we'll just play those. I guess I want to probably put this Lifestaff on something. I mean, we're at 16 and they only have 2 damage here. I think I can take 1 turn off from using the Lifestaff. I think that's fine. I could have Deadly Disputed the Infestation Sage here, get in for 1 more damage, and then equip up Lifestaff, but it's fine. They have a full cost Kitchen Imp here. Mountain, so no cards left in hand. Seems pretty good for us. They're going to swing. Can we just kill them at 12? We sack this. Well, this triggers, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We already have 4, so that's 8. 9 off the Lifestaff. I think so, but let's just start by disputing this Sage. We can also block a Snacker if we really want here. We get another Deadly Dispute, and we have an extra damage here. I guess we don't need to. Oh, well, we'll want to sack this, so yeah, let's just let it. We'll take 4. Another Swamp. So we'll sack this Insect. We're at 9 damage right now. Freebooter and another Infiltrator. So 9, 10, and we'll get 12 from these treasures. So we'll swing for 12 damage. That Lifestaff was incredible. Exactly as I drew it up, and we get 2 more to bring in. We also probably want to bring in these Reunions for Snackers or maybe even Faithless Lootings, and I don't think we want anything else. I do think Reaping's decent because we can get back our Sages, which can be flyers, to block. We can get back, and also they just cast a lot of spells most of the time. They didn't that game because they were a little behind, but if they get a Faithless Looting double madness turn, Reaping for 4 is pretty solid. So I think we usually just go down freebooters, and I think that seems right. We're still getting creatures off this Reunion, in fact doubly so 4 Lifestaffs seems like they're going to be really good here. So I think this is decent. This hand once again has no sacrificers. I think knowing that we're against what we're against, Rakdos Madness, this actually isn't a very good hand. No sacrificers, no flyers, no life gain, no reunions. I think we're going to mulligan this one. This one's a little better. We do have a sacrifice outlet. We have a Lifestaff, so we need to get a second land, but I think we're keeping this one. And I want at least 1 Ghast for an extra treasure, maybe both for that reason. So maybe the Link Breaker goes back. They have an Epicure. We got another Sage. I think we're just leading on Ghast as a way to trade and make a treasure. They're going to Faithless Looting with no mana up. This means either they're desperate or they're going for 2 Snackers in the bin, is my guess. Maybe just 1 Snacker, but usually you want to Madness something if you can. Like a turn 2, discard a Snacker, and then also a Madness card that you Madness is not a bad turn at all. There is a Snacker and another Faithless, and a Jagged Barrens, okay. They're going to swing with the Epicure. We'll trade. We kind of need this treasure if we don't draw a land here. We didn't. so let's see. I could play Carrion Feeder, but it's our only real sack outlet. We have the Deadly Dispute. Yeah, maybe I just play a Ghast, keep our treasure. The next turn I can Deadly Dispute the treasure, try to find our land, and then maybe play like a Sage with a Lifestaff on it. I think that's fine. We want to get this Lifestaff going. Luckily, we're not under too much pressure yet, although that could change if they have a good turn here. They do start with a Fiery Temper. I assume to the Dome. And an Epicure. Alright, Beetle. Pretty sure we're sacrificing this. I could just get our Lifestaff down, play it, equip it, but that seems bad. So I think we're just attacking for one, because we might as well before we sacrifice this guy. If they block, we will sacrifice in response. But I didn't think they would. Deadly Dispute, and we're just going to make a treasure. Again, I'm not going to respect the Epicure that much. We didn't find our land, is pretty upsetting. We got to play at least one card here. Is it just a Sage? Next turn, I bet they're going Faithless Looting, potentially with a one card to Madness, and they get back their Snacker. So if we go with a Sage, next turn we can, if we don't draw a land, we can Carrion Feeder and a Mortician Beetle maybe. Yeah. If we draw our land next turn, we're in a good spot, I think, because we can play Carrion Feeder, Lifestaff, and equip it up. And then we have a sack outlet with a Lifestaff, which is really good. They have Vampire's Kiss. Okay. Not bad for them. They did also have their land, so it's possible they could go for a Faithless next turn. They are going to swing. I think we're blocking. And don't want to take this damage every turn. We might keep this insect around for this Snacker. Okay, there's our land. So I could just... We're not in a bad spot at all. We could just play Lifestaff on Insect and attack, and then play out the Feeder, which can sack it in a pinch. Yeah, we want to get Lifestaff going. Our goal is to survive, not to kill them. So rather than like playing out Mortician Beetles and trying to get that going, I just want to get this Lifestaff going. If they bolt this in response, it still gained us 3 life. Electrickery, I mean, about the same. I'd prefer they do that now than when we have a Carrion Feeder out, though. I don't see a reason now to run out any of our creatures that just die without getting Lifestaffed, so let's just pass here. They have a Faithless from hand. Okay, Snacker's back. No Madness, though, and the Festivities in a Swamp, so that's pretty good for us. Flashback a Faithless Looting from the grave. That's a bit more desperation, because if they find Madness, they're not going to be able to use it. Feels like you would have wanted to, like, discard a Blood Token there or something. They discard a Lightning Bolt. Relevant. Rotten Reunion. Obviously, they have Snacker here. They do have two more Faithless Lootings in the bin. So we're not getting rid of those either way. So I think we just play an Infestation Sage and a Carrion Feeder. And then if they attack with this, I can sack the Sage, trade the 1/1, and then if they try to get it back, I can Rotten Reunion it. Seems okay. We're losing 2 creatures and not getting Lifestaff life off of them. So maybe we just take 2 damage this turn, play out the Sage, and then Lifestaff it up. That actually seems a little better. We're taking 2, but I think the chances of them killing us here are low. And then we'll make up for it by gaining 6 life more off of this Lifestaff in the following turn. We're going to leave up Rotten Reunion in case they have another Snacker. They're going to bin a Barrens and bin a Mountain off this Blood. That's their 3rd card, so they can't get a Snacker back whether they find it or not. Duress us. I don't think this Reaping the Graves is that important to us because we just don't have the mana for it. So I think I want a Rotten Reunion as a guy. It does use our treasure, but I think that's okay. So we'll take out a Faithless Looting. But it's a guy that also sacrifices to itself when it attacks. So equipping it up with a Lifestaff, hitting in for 3, and then gaining 3 is pretty good. They're going to swing. We get a Swamp. We have our Reunion up. So I think we're just playing Feeder, attacking for 2. And then if they attack here, we'll sack the Sage, gain 3, block the Snacker with our Insect, and then if they try to get it back, we will Rotten Reunion it. Start with a Grab the Prize. Okay, I guess they have the Kitchen Imp, so that's a fair reason to do it before their Snacker dies. We're down to 8. All the more reason to get all the life we can off this staff. Play a Mountain, and bolt the Feeder. Okay, well, we're sacking Sage in response. Losing the Feeder is pretty annoying, I will say. I guess I could save it by sacking both of these, or by Rotten Reunion now, and then sacking both of those. We have a Insect for this, but we lose a lot of life that way. I don't think we need to. I think it's fine. Feeder can die. They attack with both here. So we're going to block the snacker. They're going to pass. We're going to get rid of the snacker while we have the mana. Deadly Dispute. So we're going to play a beetle, play another beetle, equip up a zombie, and attack with it, which is a deal 3, gain 3. So it's a lightning helix to the face. It also grows our beetles, which seems good. Next turn we can do the same thing and also hit in for 7 total. They're going to bin a snacker off the blood, and then they have a Faithless from the graveyard. Okay, not bad. We do also have this Deadly Dispute, though. They have a Fiery Temper. That can deal us damage or just kill a beetle. This one's close for sure, but the Lifestaff is helping immensely. They go for one of the bugs. Deal us 2. We get a Swamp. We're going to equip up the zombie. Attack with both. And then in response to the sack effect, we're going to Deadly Dispute it. Going to gain 3. I already said always yes. Come on. What does always mean? 2 more lands is pretty bad. I'm not going to lie to you. We'll equip this. I kind of wish one of those was a Dross Pits. We're in a good spot considering, but if we don't draw anything other than lands, we're going to lose this one still. They have an Alms of the Vein for full cost. Swing for 4. We're down to 6. Yeah. We'll attack for 4 here, but if they have any bolt or anything, we're going to die. This Lifestaff gained us so much life, but not a lot's going to help when we draw 7 lands here. Barons, do they have 1 more damage? Swing for 4. They don't. Can we draw anything? Another Lifestaff. I mean, that would be okay if we had any way to sacrifice creatures. We can equip it up. We can hit for 6, but that's it. Kind of annoying. Or hit for 5. We can't hit for 6. Okay. I feel like that one should have been ours. We did whiff on our second land for 3 or 4 turns, so it wasn't like amazing that we did that, but still a little unfortunate. Another 1-lander with Village Rites. I mean, with 17 lands in your deck, you're going to sometimes have some 1-landers, and you're going to have to accept that some of them you're going to have to keep. And I think the ones where Ghasts make us treasure and Village Rites draws us more cards are the ones to keep, so it didn't work last time, but we're going to keep this one. They mulligan to 6, which helps a little bit. We'll play a Ghast. They've been in the Festivities turn 1. It's not terrible. It gives us our treasure, so we can still just play one of these and Village Rites if I want to right away to try to draw our land. I think that's okay. Unless I just want to leave a Broughton Reunion if they go for a Sneaky Snacker right here. Off of a Grab the Prize, that is. If I find the land, I can do that either way. Oh, I guess I can do it either way because I'll get a treasure off of this guy. Okay, we're going to go for the Village Rites since we can do both. And just hope we hit a land here. We did not. Never lucky. We're going to pass. Kuldotha Red and play a Carnarium. And then Faithless Looting. Smart. They get rid of 2 mountains. No snackers. There's our swamp. A little late to the party. Alright, so do I just want to Sage and suit it with a Lifestaff? I think that's kind of what we want to be doing here, right? This is kind of what we did last time, but we're doing it a little bit earlier. Next turn we can swing for 2 and then Deadly Dispute, which seems okay. They have a Grab the Prize, but it's with a Faithless Looting, so that's not bad. And an Epicure. Another Lifestaff. Well, that's interesting. I mean, we're not going to turn down 6 life off of each creature, right? It takes us this turn, and we could either attack in for 3 or just leave it back, and there's no way that they attack us, but I don't think we're going to leave this in hand. So, I mean, just having this makes it so that it's very hard for them to, like, cast their Electrickeries and the Festivities, which is nice, because they don't want to really give us 6 life. And then next turn we get to Deadly Dispute and gain 6 anyway. They have a Grab the Prize with an Alms of the Vein, down to 11 off of that. And the draw 2, man, Grab the Prize is a good card. And they have another Epicure. They pass, we get a Mortician Beetle. I think we're swinging here and then Deadly Disputing. Trying to hit a land drop and something else, I don't know. Deadly Dispute, gain 6. Land and another Lifestaff. I mean, I don't hate him. So I think I just double equip up this insect. Make attacks impossible. The Village Rites would be nice next turn because we can play another Lifestaff and then Village Rites it away. They have a Snacker. We didn't leave up Broughton Reunion for a Snacker, so that's a little unfortunate. But Snacker can't really attack either, so maybe it's okay. Gonna go for a Faithless. Get a Fiery Temper, which they go face with. They do swing. Okay. I guess because this Snacker's here now. We will block, though. Gain 6. Another Reunion. Well, I guess we just play a Beetle and double equip. It's either that or we could do a Rotten Reunion. They do have one Faithless in their grave. They have enough mana for it to be pretty relevant too. Actually, I think we're going to do that. Doing it now means that they don't have... they could have a Snacker to come back, but I'd rather equip up with the Lifestaffs this turn, I think. Or I could Rotten and Beetle, and then hold up another Rotten, and then next turn, but then they can kill the Beetle for free. No, I think we'll just get this looting and equip up this zombie. I mean, next turn we can attack with the zombie. We can even put another Lifestaff if we want, and it'll gain us 9. Nice 9 ball. They do have a looting from hand, good for them. With an Imp and a Fiery Temper, I mean, they're putting up a good fight here. We definitely still could lose. We need some good draws. Reapings are not it in this matchup. I think we should have maybe cut a couple of these over anything else. They do sacrifice, or they attack the zombie. It can't even block. I don't know if they knew that, but Decayed Zombies can't block. They discard and the Festivities. They do get in for 5 here, but we're still at 19 because of all this. We get a Village Rites. I kind of want to take that looting. They've already lost 2. This would be their 3rd. So if I do that with a Rotten Reunion, 2 Lifestaffs, I mean, we're just on the up and up here. Keep gaining life. I don't see a reason to do anything else. I guess they could have a Bolt here, but they don't seem to. It's possible I should leave up a black so that I can Village Rites this away. I'm kind of expecting them not to kill it this time, though. Yeah, they don't know that it can't block, I don't think. We will take 4 here. Deadly Dispute. We're going to play a Lifestaff. Make them regret their Lifestaff. And attack for 5. Village Rites, gain 9. They're going to block, fair enough. And we'll sacrifice it. Boom. Cool 9 life, 23. Swamp and a Feeder. I'm not going to play a Beetle because it'll just die, and I'd rather have some Lifestaffs on it first. Same with the Feeder. Wish we had 2 mana to Rotten Reunion at the end step here. Okay, they get to take a Deadly Dispute or a Reaping. We're finally gaining some lands, so Reapings might start being good here, but yeah, I understand them taking the Deadly Dispute. They Jag Barons us. Swing for 4. Freebooter. Alright, so do I just play Freebooter and suit it up? If they kill it before, then we'll get a treasure and we can just do it with one of the other guys. So yeah, I think so. With 1 card in their hand, 4 damage on board. We go to 14. They would need, with 2 cards, to be able to deal us 14 damage. If they can, Godspeed. That seems like a tall order to me. We don't really have another play either way, unless we're just leaving up Reaping the Graves, which seems bad. Vampire's Kiss. Blood token away, a Swamp. And a Kitchen Imp. Not bad. It's possible I should look for a Reaping the Graves window, or I should have been looking for one to get Shambling Ghasts to pick off Kitchen Imps. We're going to take 6 here, down to 10. Another Swamp. So I think here, we play a Swamp, we attack for 4, we play a Beetle and a Carrion Feeder, and then we have 9 life to gain here. And then if they want to kill something, we can Reaping. If not, maybe we just suit these up onto another guy. Yeah, I think we'll sacrifice this right here, gain 9. Scry a Swamp to the bottom, I guess. And then we're at 19. Yeah, I think we just put these on here, and on the off chance we want to sack it, we can gain 1,000,000 life. And if they don't start leaving guys back, we can also just attack for a bunch. They have a Vampire's Kiss, discard a blood token, or a mountain to a blood token, rather, and an Alms of the Vein. And another Vampire's Kiss. We're down to 12. They're going to swing. We will take it. We have 7 damage on board. Gassed. I think we can do some good stuff here. Gas can ping off a Snacker, which I guess comes back. So I think we just want the treasure. Possible I should have suited that up with some Lifestaffs first, but I'm trying to kill them. Then I can Rotten Reunion, then I can Reaping. I don't think it matters. Then I can Reaping the Graves for 3. Get back, Gassed, Freebooter, Gassed, which I can play all of. So we're at 9 damage. Each of these is another 2, so 9, 15, 17. So I don't think we're at lethal. Don't think we need another staff, funny as that is. Yeah, problem here is I'm going to have to sack the Beetle to gain the life, but we still get to attack for 15, 17 here, and pick off this Snacker, because I don't think we need this treasure, just to gain a little bit more life. Put them to 8, and just to make sure they can't kill us, we will sacrifice the Beetle. So yeah, obviously these life staffs being on any of those other guys would have been great, but we kind of ran out of mana. But now we have a lethal attacker that they have to chump, and we can put life staffs on it, and it's going to be very hard for them to kill. I guess they can get back the snacker, but it'll be tapped this turn. And then we can also ideally reaping for maybe some more ghasts if they only leave back one kitchen imp. If we're able to get another one spell, we can get the not kitchen imps, what am I saying? The shambling ghasts back and pick off the last imp. But also them losing a creature every turn is going to hurt their pressure quite a bit. You have an Alms of the Vein hard cast, which makes this not lethal. They still don't attack with either guy though. Can make it lethal with all the life staffs. So, or I could just Rotten Reunion and then have that as a guy to get back. Let's do that. Rotten Reunion, life staff here, life staff here, life staff here. Now I attack. This is lethal because if they don't block it, we'll sack this and make it an extra one. So they have to block, and then we're going to move a life staff over to the zombie. So on the off chance we are at risk of dying, we can sacrifice it and gain 6. But they would have to have 8 damage here, so that seems unlikely. They're going to swing with the kitchen imp. So if they don't have any creatures here, we can just Reaping the Graves back the Shambling Ghast, pick off the snacker, and attack for lethal. And they don't. We have a village right, so let's just do that to get our storm count up. Get back an extra Shambling Ghast in case we need it. Play a Ghast. We're going to sack it to the feeder, pick off the snacker, play another Ghast, and that'll give us lethal on their guy. They just Fiery Temper us, just to show what they can do. So I might as well just Life Staff for the 11th point of damage, since these were what carried us. We definitely took a couple minutes more than our opponent in this match, and I don't love to do that, but this is a surprisingly complex deck that I'm still rather new to. There are a lot of lines, and as I show off the deck, I like to talk through a lot of the lines. But nevertheless, a very exciting match. Glad we were able to get it there. Despite having so many life staffs, wasn't as close, or rather, it was closer than I wanted it to be. I felt like it should be a pretty easy match, knowing that we have these life staffs, but I think it'll be easier against mono red because they run out of gas a lot quicker. Rakdos Burn, the thing about it is that it just keeps cards in its hand, because every time it discards a madness card, it essentially didn't discard a card, right? It got that card for free or for a small cost. So yeah, so this was surprisingly close, but I think mono red we're going to have a better time with. All right, round 3 here. 2 lands, nice to see. This hand looks great. No Carrion Feeder, which is my preferred sack outlet, especially for an aggro start, but Deadly Dispute's great. Kind of everything that you want. A payoff, a sack enabler, fodder, and some removal. Obviously, with only 2 Snuff Outs in the deck, the removal is not always something you're going to get, but it's also not something we want in every match. Opponent instantly losing connection to the game and rejoining. Off to a good start. As always, I think we lead off on Freebooter. I really like the play pattern of Freebooter or Shambling Ghast into a Deadly Dispute on turn 2, because that accelerates us so that we can do so much on turn 3. We can play like a Sage and a Mortician Beetle and hold up another Deadly Dispute. We could play a Carrion Feeder. Like, it just gives us so much mana that I really enjoy that. And it's not card disadvantage or anything, right? It's a 2 for 2, but we come out with 2 treasures, a Scry, Chump Block maybe, you know, a lot of little incremental value. All right, let's kick it off with the Freebooter. Get it, kick, because it's a boot. They have a swamp. No 1-drop, though, so I can't imagine it's a mirror match. Sage. We'll get in for 1 damage. I could just play 2 more Sages. What do I think swamp means? Could be a Gardens or something. Could just be a Broodscale. It either means Broodscale, as in no removal, or Gardens as in all removal. So I don't really want to Beetle yet. So do I double Sage or do I just Dispute? Kind of want to save the Dispute for when we have the Beetle. I think I'm going to double Sage here. Could also be like a Jund Wildfire, but tough to call. Troll, so that's either Gardens or more likely Dredge. Geothermal Bog tells me probably Dredge, which means no removal, which is one of the 2 options. Forest, yeah. That's a Prowler. All right, now we wish we had the Beetle. If we draw a land, that'd be good, because we can play Beetle and still Deadly Dispute. Knot of the Bone instantly in the grave is annoying. Life gain's not a big deal, to be honest, so maybe it's fine. But they also got a Stinkweed Imp, and they got a Forest. Another Sage. So am I Deadly Disputing and then playing these, or do I just play these and next turn I can Dispute? Kind of want to hit that land drop. So we're gonna swing. They block a Sage. That's fine. I'm happy to get one of their guys off the board for Dread returns. Now we'll Deadly Dispute. I think the other Sage so that we keep up the aggression. 2 feeders isn't bad. Since we have 2 of those, I think we'll just play one of them out. Next turn, we can Beetle and Sage and attack for a good amount. Snuff Out's bad in this matchup. They don't have a lot that it hits, and anything that it can hit is pretty irrelevant unless they like exhume a tree ent. An ent, that is. They Dredge and then Scrapwork Mutt, Dredge again. Well, 7 creatures already in yard. There is a Dread return, second Knot of the Bone. There's a Bog. I can snuff out a Mutt. Not sure that's where we want to be at. Link Breaker. I don't think we have lethal here in any way, even if we snuff this out, because we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But I can play a Beetle first, then a Link Breaker or a Sage. Let's do a Sage. Swing with the team. If they block here, we're going to have to sack 2 to keep this alive, so we'll probably go with Sage Freebooter. This is a match where the trample that I tried in the last video would come up. I ended up not putting in this one because the deck's pretty tight. It's kind of hard to find those slots, and I use those slots for the Lifestaffs. It's possible trample is worthwhile in the sideboard, but not what we have right now. They are going to go for the block. They already have 2 Mutts in their grave, so I'm not too worried about giving them another one. Obviously, it's just another creature, but whatever. Do I want to sack this insect or this Freebooter? I think I like the Scry and the Treasure, so I think we're going to go with the Freebooter. Link Breaker seems okay, because next turn we can play 2 Link Breakers. We could even play one this turn. These are both 3/3s, so that's at least 4 each. So that's 7, 14. We're already getting in for 2 here. And then we have insects. So both of these together will be lethal. I think we keep that on top. If they only play 1 creature, we might be able to get them next turn with a Snuff Out. Although, if that creature's like a Stinkweed Imp, we're not going to be able to. Do I play a Link Breaker or a Carrion Feeder now? Carrion Feeder doesn't matter. It's only going to be a 1/1, or at least, or taking... Actually, I guess they can't block this. Actually, I think we do play a Carrion Feeder. Because then it takes away counters from this feeder, but if they block the bigger one, then we have 2. So I guess the smart thing for them to do is block the Beetle in that case. So yeah, if they block the Beetle, we probably won't get there, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Unearth a Scrapwork Mutt. We also do have this Snuff Out to interrupt potentially a Dread return, if that's what they go for. They Stinkweed Imp, get another Dread return, another Stinkweed. They cast a Circle of the Land Druid. They've already played a land this turn. This means that they're probably not going to have a 3rd creature, and then we can snuff out the circle, and we probably are just fine to get in for lethal. They lose the Scrapwork. Yeah. So unless they have some janky card, we get to just slam some Link Breakers, snuff out the circle, and get in for lethal. Because we have 10 damage right here, and these each represent 4 apiece. So sack, sack, sack. And if we needed to, we could even sack some of the insects as 1 extra damage apiece, but we already have 12, 15, 18. All right. Nice game 1. We get to take out Snuff Outs. It worked there, obviously, but in general, not great. And I don't think we need Life Staffs. If we gain an exorbitant amount of life, it's not bad, but I don't think it's where we want to be. I mean, we'll see. We want to bring in the Rotten Reunions for sure. No to Marauders. Death's Head Buzzard isn't terrible. Most all of their blockers are 1/1s, except for obviously any big guy they pull out with an Exhume or anything, or a Stinkweed Imp itself. So if they've just gummed up the board with a bunch of 1/1s, this can be our trample by just getting rid of all their 1/1s, and obviously we'll lose ours, but if we just sack them pre-combat, this might be decent. I'm not sure Reaping's where we want to be. This is a little more late game. They don't cast that many spells in a turn. 3... really only on the turns they're like going for a Dread return. Other than that, maybe 2. It's possible Lifestaff isn't bad. Like if we get to the point where we have a bit of a board stall, which I'm not sure when that would happen, because I guess if we just have a bunch of 1/1s and we don't have a big guy. But if we have a Carrion Feeder and a Lifestaff and just like 3 guys that all die into second creatures, we can just gain like 18. I don't think that's really where we want to be. I think we're just cutting one of these for a Death Head. I don't think they're a combo, but I don't think Mesmeric Fiend's where we want to be. They're not combo from the hand. I guess this does get rid of a Stinkweed Imp, but then they probably just find another. I don't think that's really where we want to be. Here's the old 1-lander. We do have Freebooter, Carrion, and Rotten Reunion, which are all good. We also have the Death's Head. So like I could start with a Carrion Feeder, turn 2, Greedy Freebooter, Sack, and then Link Breaker, or maybe even just hold up a Reunion. I think it's not great. Usually when I have a hand like this, I want a Village Rites. We do get a pretty fast attacker, but just one. I don't think this is going to cut it, unfortunately. This one's worse. This one's worse. Wish we kept the 7-card hand. All right. This one's not great either. I mean, it's fine. We're keeping, get rid of 1 swamp, one of these 2, and I think we have to keep the Gixian as our grower. But then are we getting rid of Deadly Dispute? Because that's terrible. I guess maybe we just keep Gixian and Deadly and hope to draw something else. Worst case, we sacrifice the Vault of Whispers. That doesn't seem very good at all. But if you have a fringe playable 7-card hand, never get rid of it because you're going to go down to a 4 is the lesson to learn here. We get the Freebooter back. That's not a bad draw. I mean, we have a million 1-drops and any of them would have been acceptable, but glad we got one. They do cycle the Troll, so let's see if we get a turn 1 Exhume. Turn 2 Exhume. Nope, we just get a Bog. Beetle's not bad. We're just going to play the Infiltrator this turn. Next turn we can, if we draw another land, we can play Beetle first and then Deadly Dispute the Freebooter. If we don't, we maybe just Deadly Dispute the Freebooter and then Beetle. They have another Troll and they have an Ancient Grudge. That's unfortunate. We got collateraled because they brought these in presumably to get rid of Nile Spellbombs, which is generally what you bring them in for. And we don't have those. We have Rotten Reunions, but we just happen to have this one Vault of Whispers. That said, we're still attacking pretty decently here, but we definitely need a 1-mana sack outlet or another land. Pronto. They have a Blanchwood Prowler. Finds them a Nod to the Bone. Also, not having a sack outlet here will just mean we can't attack because they have a 2/2, which is pretty annoying. So Swamp would be great. Carrion Feeder's not bad, actually, because it lets us sack this into another Freebooter. So let's play that. Sack the Freebooter. We also get a couple Scries to try to find our land. I mean, Sage isn't bad, honestly. Next turn, we draw Sage, can play it, and then these are all enormous. Because right now, these are going to be 3/3s, and this is going to be a 4/3. No, it's going to be even bigger than that because of our treasures. It's going to be like a 6/5, I think. So this is going to make like 8 and 5s. That doesn't give them a lot of time. I think we're going to keep that. It's very interesting for sure. It also lets us play it, and then the following turn, if we don't end up sacrificing it, we can Deadly Dispute with the treasure we're going to get here. Swing with these 2. They block the bigger one. We're still going to go for a sack here to gain an extra damage. We'll leave that on top. This is what we've decided to do. And pass. 11, 12. We have 18 damage next turn. I mean, they can survive with a Nod to the Bone, worst case. If not, just some chump blockers, but seems okay. They could Ancient Grudge our treasure, which is kind of interesting. And they do. Okay, well, we'll sacrifice it for the Infiltrator. That's their green mana, and they already played a land, though. That means they can't Nod to the Bone. So they need a blocker here. Maybe just a Dread Return on a Troll, yep. I mean, that's just going to trade with one of our 2 guys, though, because we get to make these both 5/5s, which means 5 and 8. Oh, they actually have to chump the Gixian. So this Infestation Sage was great, because if they block either of the small guys, they die. And this is going to be an 8/7, so they just have to chump. Good old chumping with a Troll of Khazad Doom. They brought a Cave Troll, but it dies to this little Phyrexian dude. I think they're going through the 5 stages of grief right now on this Troll, trying to figure out how they can block in a way that doesn't kill them and doesn't lose the Troll, or at the very least trades with the creature. Dang. They have accepted their fate. We will sacrifice the Sage, as well as the insect that comes from it. Keep our guys alive, hit for 10, so they're at 3. And so even a Nod to the Bone gains them 10. So 2 of these are still lethal, well, 2 of those with one of the big ones. They gotta have something pretty good here. Or just a couple more chump blockers and a Gnaw, I guess. There's a Blanchwood. Stinkweed Imp in the grave. And that gives them 12 life off the Nod to the Bone. Which means they can chump and Gnaw survive. They go to 15, so if we get another Sage or not a Freebooter, Link Breaker off the top, we would still have lethal. Vault of Whispers is not bad. That lets us Deadly Dispute, which we're definitely going to do, because, again, Link Breaker or a Sage should win it here if they don't have anything else. Village Rites. I think we're 1 short, because if they block here, which they have to, I could sack it to the Carrion Feeder for 12 damage, Oh, so we're 3 short. Fair enough. Well, we're swinging with the team. There's the Gnaw to the Bone. Up to 15. Block the Infiltrator. Nothing I could draw with a Village Rites here. No reason to sack a lethal attacker, so we'll just pass. They do get to Stinkweed finally, which is a decent blocker, but then they gotta find like another Gnaw to the Bone, which they don't. They do have a Scrapwork Mutt. The Gnaw to the Bone might not even do it though. They only have 7 or 8 creatures in their grave, I think. They do have a Mutt from hand with the Imp. Dread Return, but no Gnaw to the Bone. 11 creatures in grave. It's possible they have a Gnaw in hand, which would be 22 life, so that will keep them alive. Unless we find a Snuff Out, which we took out, so we can't. Man, Tramp would be so good. Swamp's pretty bad, because I don't want to Village Rites any of our current creatures. We do have to be worried about dying, though, because, I mean, they only have 11 creatures in the grave. They need to find Dread Return, but a Gnaw to the Bone from hand is going to buy them a lot of time. But they'll block. Take 10? Alright. I don't think it's worth it to Village Rites away any of our giant creatures. This Gnaw to the Bone buys them 2 turns roughly, which is not great, but it's not as good as it could be. They need 8 more creatures in the grave, 9 I guess, and then reanimate a Lotleth Giant. There's a Scrapwork Mutt coming back, discarding the Imp. On another Imp, 2 more Giants. Gnaw to the Bone for 14 now. This does mean they don't have a blocker, but 14 is 28 life, is 45, so very unlikely we can kill them this turn. They pass. Give us something good. Beetle's not bad. I think we just sack that to our Village Rites right away. I don't think it's going to be growing at a fast enough rate. Certainly not if we have to wait to sacrifice something with the rights. Draw 2, another Infiltrator, and a Deadly Dispute. So we're at 21 damage. Might as well make it 22. Playing this Gixian pre-combat. Might also just be Deadly Dispute fodder, or I guess even just Carrion Feeder fodder. But we're going to save it for the Deadly Dispute in case we top deck a Swamp. Up to 45, down to 23. Yep. Okay. That was the last Gnaw to the Bone we saw, but they have another Stinkweed Imp going. Deciding if they want it back. They already have 1 in hand, which we know about. They decide not to. They just take a draw. They could just cast 1 as a blocker here. They go for another Mutt, trying to find that Gnaw to the Bone. And they do. Lucky them for still just 14, which puts them at 51. We have 22 here. They also get in for 2 damage, so we're at 16. So they only need a few more creatures. They do need to have a reanimate spell for the giant, but that's not too hard to have. A Rotten Reunion would be great anytime. Shambling Ghast, okay. Well, I think we're just playing a Shambling Ghast and disputing it. I don't see any reason to dilly-dally on that. We get treasures, we get more counters. Treasures also equals counters. And we draw 2. Ideally, 2 Rotten Reunions would be great. I'll take 1, though. Sages is not bad. Okay, so they're going up to 51. How much damage do we have? We currently have 15, 20, 27. And each of these creatures is 4, so that's 16 in hand. So 27 plus 16 is 43, which means we're 8 damage short. Oh wait, but we also have 2 treasures that we're sacrificing, which is 4 more, so we're 4 damage short. Even more annoying. I mean, what else are we doing, right? I think we're playing these. Maybe since it's not lethal, we might keep around 1 or 2 of these creatures in order to keep Village Rites as good draws, but we're certainly attacking for a bunch here. Gnaw to the Bone. Let's make sure our math is right. Yeah, 51. Math again. 10, 21, 31. Wait, 31 plus 16 is 47. Yeah, so 4 off. I mean, in case they get the last Gnaw to the Bone, we're going to do some more, but I think we're going to keep around 2 of these on the off chance that we get Deadly Dispute into a Village Rites or 2 Village Rites or something. I don't think the extra damage here is that relevant. Cross my fingers. We'll put them to 12 and see what they got. They don't Dredge. They do have another Mutt, so that's 5 more cards they get to look at. They don't find a Gnaw to the Bone. They do find another Stinkweed and Dread Return. Now, they're drawing in their turn, not Stinkweed Imping. And if the only thing they were looking for was Gnaw to the Bone and creatures in the grave, they would. So Satyr Wayfinder. So I assume that they don't have the reanimation, but it looks like they might have 3 creatures here, which would be a Dread Return. They find the Gnaw to the Bone. and don't have a land. So do they have a 2 mana? No. Yeah, I don't think the deck runs 2 mana creatures that are not green. So if they had found a forest there, with the Nod of the Bone, they would have survived a turn, and then they could Dread Return. Or rather, if they found any untapped land, because they had a Stinkweed Imp in hand, and then they would have been able to Dread Return. And they had just enough creatures in the grave that they would have gotten there. That was a heck of a game. Luckily, we were able to make it, though. All right, here we are. 2 Beetles, Deadly Dispute, and 2 sackable creatures. Looks good to me. Since we have 2 Beetles, do I just want to run one of them out? I don't think we're sacking anything on turn 2 anyway, so I think we probably would prefer a more expendable creature, especially against End the Festivities. Okay, we'll make a treasure. I'm okay with that. Mono red is my guess. Shambling Ghast, Mortician Beetle. Now I could run out Mortician. No. I think we're just running out another Shambling Ghast and holding up a Deadly Dispute for it. I could do a Sage. What are the chances they have another End the Festivities? Low. Yeah, pretty low. Let's just run these both out. Percussionist. They're going to swing. I think I'm happy to trade. Block here, and then I play a Beetle and I hold up a Deadly Dispute. Or like one of these guys. I think that's fine. They get a card, we get a 1/1 with flying. Basically as good as a card. Yeah, basically as good as a Chain Lightning. They'll use that on us. Another Sage. We're going to get a Beetle down. Do I want to just sack now? Yeah, kind of. Let me swing here. If the reason to not sack like a Ghast right now, well, I don't know if I want to sack Ghast because it can ping off something. If they go for a kill on the Beetle, I can just sack it. I think that's fine. Let's just pass with a Dispute. They have the Chain Lightning, so yeah, let's just sack it. There's no way we're gonna make it big enough, even if we get like a Dispute into a Village Rites. Always yes, always yield. But this 8 of Chain Lightning, which is not bad. Snuff Out's not a great draw, but we might just hard cast that later. They have another Chain Lightning, getting all the Chain Lightnings. We are going to want our Sylvok Lifestaffs. Pronto. There's a Dross Pits. Not bad that it comes in tapped, though, so that's a win for us. I think we're just playing these 2 out, hoping to God they don't have another End the Festivities, and playing a Dross Pits. Pass. Looks like this might be a good match to sack the Pits, too, probably after a turn or 2. Synth. Kuldotha Rebirth. That's good. Hopefully they don't have another land here. Percussionist. Nice. They don't, so Percussionist wasted. Link Breaker. Would have loved a Carrion Feeder. I think we're not just holding up Snuff Out, so I think we're sacking this Dross Pits. Yeah, because all we have is a Link Breaker. So let's sack. And I get to show you what I worked on so hard for. This little graphic. Got or got me. Every time the Dross Pits really gets me, I would get got because it enters tapped and it's really bad. I would add 1 to this counter. But every time it got me, because it got me a card, and it's good, then it gets a little 1 here. You see what I'm saying? So here, we get to add 1 to the got me, because that card's got me, okay? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It's going to be there all day now. All right, so I can play one of these. Beetle is really unfortunate not doing anything. We can attack in with maybe Insect and Sage, and then we still have a Ghast for backup. We get in for a couple, and I think we'll leave a Link Breaker for now, just in case we want this treasure for anything. They're swinging. We're going to make some blocks. They have a Galv Blast for the Beetle, but none of these are being sacrificed, so that's fine. Beetle down. We get to ping off their crew, though, and we still have 3 1/1s. They have 3 cards in hand, though, so if they're all bolts, we still need to find that Lifestaff, buddy. Heck yes. So here, we get to play Link Breaker and the Lifestaff and equip. Question is, do I want to equip for an extra damage and then equip to the Link Breaker using our treasure? I think that's fine. I kind of like the slightly faster clock here, because 4 damage every turn. Yeah, this also might make them use a bolt here. Perfect. That's great. Love to see it. This is what this card's doing work. So in that case, I think we're just suiting this up and just leaving the Link Breaker here. If they use another bolt, great. If not, we'll get in for 2 and leave this for haste, guys. I think actually we still just play this Link Breaker. We already have enough sackables for any draw 2s that we get. And if they don't play any more creatures, we just want to have attackers. Link Breaker. Not Link Breaker, that's an Epicure. Kuldotha, okay, that's annoying. Vault of Whispers, I mean, not great. It lets us use our Snuff Out for mana, which is reasonable. Do we want to get in for any damage here? Yes, because we don't want to lose, like, even if they attack with everything, I don't want to block all because we want some to be around for the Lifestaff. So I think we're swinging with the flyers that don't have this on them. I could attack with all of them and then just move it over here. I don't really need to Snuff Out. And this is a 3-turn clock. Yeah, I think this is fine, actually. Do that and equip to the Link Breaker. If they have removal in response, that's totally fine. We can just equip it to the Mercenary. They do have a Bushwhacker. That is probably something I should have thought about. I guess this means we die to a Bolt with this on the stack. Well, maybe we should have left back one of those insect tokens. We may have been a little hasty here. No death to a Bolt. That's good. And a Village Rites. So I can attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I can, well, I'm not going to attack with everything, but I could attack for a few and then Village Rites away one of these guys. Okay. That's kind of good because we gain life off of it. Let's equip up. Attack for... If they have another Bushwhacker, how bad is it? Well, we're going up to 9. We'd have a block, take 6. We'll hopefully draw something off of this. I think we'll hit for 3. If we just hit for 2, I just don't think there's a likelihood we'll kill him next turn, and I really would like to. We are sacking this insect, unless I just want to sack this mercenary, but I kind of want to have the 2 mana up based on what we get. So let's gain 3, draw 2, Carrion Feeder, and a Gixian. So yeah, let's just play a Feeder and equip Lifestaff to an insect. There we go. I definitely made a misplay. Okay, we got there. Definitely made a misplay with that turn. If they had a Bolt, we would have just died. I should have left back an extra insect, thinking about and calculating the Bushwhacker damage, but I did not do that. All right, we do get to take out Snuff Outs for Sylvok Lifestaffs. This is the match for them, and this is also a match I want to try out the Death's Head Buzzard. I don't think Reaping the Graves is great here, and I think everything else is acceptable. So I think we're just going to do like that. I don't need to go down all the Reapings, but I think, honestly, the card is great. I think 4 might just be too many. I think 3 is where you want it to be. A lot of times, especially when I was new to Magic, something I realized was if you want to draw 1 of a card every match, you want 3 of it in a 60-card deck. Now, obviously, that won't always happen, but that's roughly what you want. Whereas if you want as many as you can possibly get, then you want 4 of them. I think Reaping the Graves, even though sometimes it's good in multiples, I think you usually just want to draw 1 of them. This hand looks solid just because we have this Lifestaff, and both of these, or no, rather, just this Link Breaker dies into another creature. So if we just start getting down creatures that die into more creatures with life gain, it seems good. This is one of Red and Rakdos Burn are some of the few matches where we are slower than they are. We're pretty aggressive, but these are slow matches, so we want to definitely survive as opposed to being as aggressive. Play a Freebooter. They have a Tomb Raider. I thought about playing the Shamagast in case they had a Tomb Raider. Double Tomb Raider's rough, and I decided against that, and that may have been a mistake. We do get to block the Epicure, get a treasure, and then play a Ghast suited up with a Lifestaff. Death's Head Buzzard isn't bad, but we don't have any way to sacrifice that. And they currently have 2 2/2s. I think we're going to get rid of it in this case. Infestation Sage, so I think actually maybe I want to play, because this doesn't kill one of these with the Ghast, so I think we're going to play a Link Breaker and then suit it up so that it dies into a creature, which can trade as well. If they bolt this, we still gain 3 from not eating a bolt and 3 from the Lifestaff, so that's good too. Lackey can attack past this, so that's a little annoying, but if this holds back 2 Tomb Raiders, that's great. And if it just eats 1, that's great too. So we'll take 3, but we'll also gain 3, so stay at 15, unless they got something weird here. Cast into the Fire on the Lifestaff. Well, that's upsetting. We kind of needed that. I do know how backbreaking Lifestaff is, and since they saw it in game 1, I understand them bringing in the artifact removal. They are out of cards, and we're at 12 still, but we do need to find another one of those. I could just play all 3 of these. I think maybe we just play an Infiltrator, which trades with this, and then a Ghast, which trades with this. And I don't think we need to get in for 1 in case we want to block with it. Is a chump blocker or something. I don't think we need Gixian to win this game, to be enormous that is, so I think we're just blocking like so. We're just going to trade for their Tomb Raiders. They pass to us. We get a Beetle. And End the Festivities game 1. Chances are they didn't side those out, so I don't know if I want to play this Beetle until we have a sack outlet. But I will play these Sages. We can triple block here. They kill 1, but then they have to either lose this or sack it. There's a Tomb Raider. We could also double block that. but now they don't have mana for the Lackey. I guess if they have a Bolt here, they still just get 2, so I think that's fine. Like, they can first strike 1, bolt another, and this won't die, but it's still just like a chump and a 1-for-1, so I'm okay if they want to do that. There's the first strike and the regular damage. Okay, we're at 9. Vault of Whispers. I don't really want to play that in case they also sided in Gorilla Shaman, not until we have a Deadly Dispute, and I don't really want to play the Mortician Beetle yet, so I think we're just passing. I will go for a double block on the Tomb Raider, because we need to stop dying as quickly as possible. They do Galv Blast one of them, that's fine. So turn these both into insects. There's a Deadly Dispute. So play Beetle, and then hold up Deadly Dispute for an insect, chump, and sack, because I want to grow this, and they need a bolt now or in the next couple turns, or they can't. I could also Deadly Dispute the Vault, but that's not going to grow the Beetle, which I kind of want. I guess we'll play the Vault. This leaves us options. I don't think we're double blocking again, so we'll at least go for a damage here. They have the End the Festivities, so we're definitely sacking an insect to grow the Mortician Beetle out of death range. Looks like they might have a bolt for it as well, but what are you going to do? They're letting us draw first, though, which seems wrong if we have another village rights. They're going to let us trade. I think we are okay with this. We got to survive. No, they didn't. They just had a blood token. Okay, to try to see if they have anything new. Vault of Whispers is not great. We do have this Dross Pits, which, assuming we don't die this next turn, is going to get us another one in the column of Got Me, because it's Got Me, a new card. They have another End the Festivities. Okay, fair enough. Reason I shouldn't have run that out, but I think it was okay still. Percussionist. A great draw would be, a Deadly Dispute, but even just like a Lifestaff and a creature. There's a creature. Let's sack the pits. That's another land. We're going to play a Carrion Feeder. Now I wish we had like 3 more Dross Pits, but can't block, so even if I wanted to trade, I'm not allowed. We're at 5. Village Rights. I think we got to sack this. Can't block anyway, so let's draw some creatures that can, or not. Okay. They have another End the Festivities. We're down to 3. Do they have the Bolt? They don't. Well, we have a Ghast. There it is. All right. Unfortunate. Honestly, if we had that Lifestaff, it would have been amazing. That's why they have the Cast of the Fires. I guess we need to do that again. And of course, that was a game where Reaping the Graves would have been not even amazing, but a decent draw. But in general, it feels like it's not great. Death's Head wouldn't have been great there either, but obviously if they get a Kuldotha draw, it would be decent. I think we'll just try it again. It worked the first time. If they don't get a Cast of the Fire, we'll be okay. There's a Pits. This looks solid. We're going to keep. What do we do turn 1? I don't think we play our guys that grow because they're going to die. So I think we just go with a Sage. So if they end the Festivities right away, I at least have a creature left behind. There's a Tomb Raider. That's fine. Swamp. So now I can play... Ugh. This is why I maybe should have played Ghast first, because I could have sacked... Now if I play Carrion Feeder and Ghast, sack it, Mortician Beetle doesn't get a counter until after it comes down, which means it's only going to be a 3/3. Yeah, I should have maybe played the Ghast first. But I can play Ghast now, and Carrion Feeder, and attack for 1, and then kind of just leave this up, and then next turn play a Beetle. Yeah, this was awkward. I think most times you probably want to start with a Ghast, or a Freebooter if you can. Because 2 4/4s would be very hard for them to deal with. They would have to bolt and end the Festivities without a Galvanic Blast online. But if I have a 3/3 Mortician Beetle and this guy can't block, then they just kill that, and it's not a big deal. Galv Blast. Okay, well I can sack just 2 of these, and it survives. They'll probably then bolt it, but I think that's fine. Sack a Sage, and guess keep our flyer, get a treasure. This takes 2. If they have to end the Festivities, we can still keep it alive with the insect. They do know this can't block, or at least know that they're willing to trade for it, so we will take 2. And they have the End the Festivities, so we will keep our Carrion Feeder alive. 1 4/4 is not bad. The fact that it can't block is pretty bad in this matchup. Village Rights is not great with the Mortician Beetle. I guess we're sacking it to the rights. Do I just do that as a chump block, though? Probably, right? Which means I guess, because I don't want to take 2 damage unnecessarily. So we'll get in for 4. 4 damage is a lot, if we can hold them off. They have a Lackey and a Gorilla Shaman. Yep, I anticipated they brought those in. They sack this. That's fine. I still want to chump. They only swing with the lackey because of the first strike, I guess. Am I chumping 1 damage here? I think this gives me a possibility of drawing a creature. I think I'll take 1. If I draw any sackable, then I can keep this beetle alive. Yeah, okay, that's great. So play this and swing with these 2, but they could block here. I think we're just Village Rightsing here, see what we draw. Another Carrion Feeder. Oh, I guess they couldn't have blocked this because I can still do this. Death's Head Buzzard isn't bad. That gets rid of a Gorilla Shaman next turn. I don't think we need to play this Carrion Feeder. So we can attack for 7 here. Maybe 8. I think this seems okay. We might have them on a faster clock than we're dying. Maybe I should have just played the Carrion Feeder out. They're going to chump with the Gorilla Shaman. Okay, I'm going to leave the Insect token to block. And I will play another Carrion Feeder. Obviously, it's not a blocker, but it's just another attacker that might get in. And we can always sacrifice the Insect to it to survive the Buzzard. Epicure dies to the Buzzard. Of course, the Gorilla Shaman does too. So the fact that they lost, that's probably pretty good for them. If they go for a Kuldotha this turn, that'd be kind of good. They're just passing. Okay. Another Sage is great. So that makes everything a lot harder for them. Do I want to play the Buzzard first to shrink these, make the Epicure die? I don't think so. I think we're just jamming. These could even get in with the Insect token. Yeah, because we're going to play the Buzzard, which means we're going to have to sack this anyway if they like try to bolt it. So yeah, we'll get in with the Insect. See what they got here. Chump the 4/4, block the Carrion Feeder, and block the Lackey on the Beetle. Okay, I could just accept this. We might as well try to keep this feeder alive, I guess, with this Insect token. Then we can go once more to keep this alive. Why are they jumping with everything? I guess they just, I don't know. I mean, they might have a Cast of the Fire to deal an extra damage, but that's kind of fine. I think I'm okay with this trading and leaving this around. I think that's fine. Let's put the onus on them to do something. They don't. They lose their guys. Okay, so I can play this Buzzard because I don't want to get like double Kuldotha into a Bushwhacker. So I think it's good as just insurance. If they bolt it, like I have to sack my own Sages in response, but that's fine. It still eats a bolt, and that means the possibility of them having Kuldotha and something else is low. They might have a Cast of the Fire for this and this, but still we could outgrow it. Yeah, so these two. So they're killing the Buzzard here. So we got to just sack the Sage because it's going to die, and then also sack the 1/1 because it's going to die to the Buzzard, and then might as well sack the Buzzard. But we have a 7/7 and a 6/6 after this, so they have to have something pretty good with their 2 cards. Even a Kuldotha Bushwhacker only hits us for 8. They discarded Galv Blast. They can have a chump blocker, but that's not really going to win it for them, I don't think. All right. Whew, that was tight, especially game 2 that we lost because they were able to take the Lifestaff. This one we didn't even need the Lifestaff. We just had a really aggressive clock, and we're able to get there. All right. Ooh. Well, this is unfortunate. I think this might be our first got counter, because if this was a swamp, I think I could keep, play a Shambling Gas turn 1, turn 2, I Village Rights it. But as is, play this turn 1, turn 2, play a gas, turn 3, if I haven't drawn another land, I Village Rights. Seems terrible. And I'm a man of my word, so here we go. Get a mulligan. That one's worse. Down to 5. 1 lander, gassed, Village Rights, Carrion Feeder. As far as a 5-card hand goes, this one's pretty good. We certainly can't go lower. I think we put back the Reaping. Turn 1 gassed, turn 2 Village Rights into a Carrion Feeder. Or do I just put back the Carrion Feeder? Because we have some card draw, and we kind of need to find something else. Yeah, it's either that or get rid of the Infiltrator, but with all the treasures flying around, I kind of like the Infiltrator. Ugh, not great. Still think that 7-card hand was not keepable if it wasn't a swamp. If it's the pits, then the hand was the pits, you know what I'm saying? Colony Garden, probably Broodscale. Mortician Beetle. I think we got a swing. I mean, I like the idea of picking this off with the -1/-1, but I think we just got to get the treasure in case we don't draw a land here. We do get a vault. That's not bad then. What do we have? I could just play out the Beetle. Next turn, Infiltrator, sack treasure for a link breaker. That's okay. Or next turn I could just play a link breaker and Deadly Dispute. I think we're playing Beetle, and I don't think we need to play anything else. Keep our treasure. They cast down. Okay. Gardens, then, is my guess, instead. That's going to make it our mold of 5 pretty bad, to be honest. I think... Do we just run out a Link Breaker and Deadly Dispute? Or do we run out an Infiltrator, and if they try to kill it, we can Deadly Dispute it? I think that's probably better. Then I don't want to run out a Link Breaker here. Can also grow this slightly. If they like swamp and have a Defile, they just Wellspring. If they had a Defile, then I can sack the treasure to grow it, sack a Vault of Whispers and keep it alive. There is a swamp, so it's a possibility they still have it. Another Infiltrator. I guess I'll play that first in case I dispute. Attack. I think I kind of want to hit for a couple more here. If I'm willing to sack this Vault. 2 4/3s seems decent. I guess if they have the Defile, they can get us. We also want to outgrow a Crypt Rats. I think it's fine. I think we're going to do this. Get rid of a Vault. Get a Lifestaff. That's pretty irrelevant. We do get a land and a Link Breaker, though. Well, we get to play our Link Breaker. We just do that and pass. Now they have to use pretty real cards for these. Like more cast downs. Snuff Out's not going to work. Defile's not going to work. Grim Bauble, that's an interesting one. Can take out the Link Breaker. Oh, they're going for the Infiltrator. I guess Double Bauble kills this. Yeah, I can't keep it alive through a treasure sack. So that's unfortunate. I mean, they used 2 cards on it, so it's not the end of the world, but would have preferred to keep it if I could. Another swamp is pretty bad. Where's my Dross Pits now? Gonna swing. Kind of expect a block and a dispute. Just a chump. Guess I'll leave swamp in hand. I don't know if they have refurbs. They do have the offering for the Wellspring. Pactdoll Terror, interesting. Okay, so it looks like a Gardens variant that is trying to run as many artifacts as possible for this guy. Another swamp's pretty bad. This guy can't get through now, so I guess I'll just equip this over here and hit for as much as we can. If they block, we have a treasure to sack. If they don't block, I still think we sack a treasure. Try to hit him for an extra damage, and I'll pass. But with 7 cards in their hand, I'm not liking where we're at. No Reaping the Graves in our hand. They have a Wellspring. Start draining us with the Terror. Another Wellspring. I mean, yeah, Colony Garden, plant. Yeah, this is a tough one. Mortician Beetle doesn't do much. We get to eat a plant token, I guess. I don't even think there's a reason to play the Mortician Beetle. It can't attack in. Might as well save it for Storm or until it can grow. Played a Vault to ping us, then Fanatical. Their Wellspring to ping us. They do have a refurb. Yeah, when they started playing Vaults of Whispers and Grim Baubles, I kind of expected it. Get rid of a Swamp. Another one. Just a Blood Fountain. Ugh. Yeah, this is gonna hurt. We do not have Artifact Hate in our deck. Infestation Sage. We're swinging for 6. This is all we got, really. I guess maybe I could throw this onto our Link Breaker. I guess they can just buy this back with the Blood Fountain. I could throw this on our Link Breaker and attack with it so we can gain life, so we can maybe outpace this. I don't know if that's really worth it. We're just going to throw our guys out, though. Get in for as much damage as we can, and this way we don't discard anything to more refurbs. Play a Vault. Dispute on the end step. Another Blood Fountain. I mean, yeah, 1 Terror, I guess, is going to kill us. We don't have any removal for it in really anywhere. They have the Crypt Rats, too. So they can do for 1 twice if they want to wipe the guys we get from these. Looks like they are, in fact, going to do that. They can attack in for 3. We're at 3, and if they can play 3 more artifacts, they can kill us. Yeah, I mean, I had the mana. I should have equipped this Lifestaff over, but I'm not confident it would have made the difference. Cursed Marauder, too. Well, there's our 3 life, I guess. Infiltrator. I don't think there's any way we can win here with 5 cards in their hand, so let's pack it up, I guess. Snuff Out's not good. Lifestaff's not good. I mean, they're control, but if we can take Pactdolls, I guess this is decent. Maybe Marauder's decent against their Pactdoll, too. Because, like, that was all bad, but if they didn't have a Pactdoll, we weren't dying through it. I mean, I guess we would have died at some point anyway. I don't know. Maybe we just need to be faster. Lifestaff does not feel worth it. They're definitely a control deck. So this is where we want the Reapings. I don't think Marauder is where we need to be at. In general, against control, I don't think Mesmeric Fiend is where we need to be at, but I think, seeing as we have cards to cut, and also just they have some important cards like Pactdoll, Blood Fountain, Crypt Rats. I think they're okay. We just need to have an aggro start, I think. This is not crazy aggro, but it's good enough for sure. We go turn 1 Feeder, turn 2 Gixie, and turn 3 Mesmeric and a Village Rites. Not super fast if they just have some cast downs and a bauble for this Carrion Feeder and stuff, but seeing as we have the Village Rites, I think I'm okay to play the Feeder even if they do bauble it away. Not that I want that to happen. They do, in fact. We will sack it to itself for style points. Well, we're going to play an Infiltrator and hope they don't have another removal spell. They have a Wellspring, okay. Swamp's not great. We would love no more lands, but we're going to draw 2 here and take a card from their hand. 2 creatures is decent. 2 Blood Fountains, a Deadly Dispute, and a Wellspring. I mean, I think we take the Deadly Dispute and try to keep them off cards. We can do that. We might be able to get there. I mean, obviously they still have a Wellspring for cards. They have the blood tokens from the fountains for cards, so like we're not fully keeping them off, but at least one of them. They played the Vault. There's a Wellspring. There's a Blood Fountain. And a Carrion Feeder would have gone so well right there. We're just playing these out, though. We need to have as quick of a start as we can. Hope that we draw some disputes into some other stuff. They found a dispute of their own. Always lucky. A swamp. Leave up 2 mana for a cast down. There's a Pits. Hey, that's better than a land that doesn't draw us a card. They do have the cast down. I'm not confident this is gonna get there with the momentum we have. They have a Crypt Rats, so they can once again wipe the board here. We draw another card. I mean, this game looks like we're in a rough spot, but I'm gonna chalk up a win for the old got me column because we did in fact got me a card. Gixie and Infiltrator, huh? They're gonna Crypt Rats for 1 twice. We don't. A Deadly Dispute effect would have been great here, but alas, play an Infiltrator and pass. I would say this deck feels really bad against all removal deck, which I think it's not great, but these are the games where we would love a Reaping the Graves, and we've just not seen them. We see them in the mono red matchups, but not in the Golgari Gardens variant matchups, and that seems rude. Because if we had it right here, like, ugh. Well, I guess the trophy wasn't meant to be. They have a refurb. We get another swamp. How do you draw this many lands? I don't even know how. We're so impressive. They're going to offering the familiar so they can get them back with the rats, with the blood fountain. I am miserable. Let's get out of this game. Well, that was a disappointing conclusion. Obviously, we still got a 4-1 with the deck, so not bad at all. We showed off the Lifestaff, though, and that's something that I really like. It did very well against Mono Red. It did very well against Madness Burn, which are the 2 main decks that it's in here for. So I'm going to call that a win, even if we didn't manage to get the trophy with it, unfortunately. I will say it looked like we had no shot against that last opponent on their Golgari Gardens Pactdoll Terror deck. But really, if we just drawn a Reaping the Graves, had it, or even like had it in our opening hand, which we have in so many other games, I think it would have been a pretty reasonably balanced match. We just didn't draw the most important card in the removal matchup. So the deck looked bad, but if we had drawn one of these, we would have been okay. I know we really wanted one in that match. I still do think that it's possible 4 of these is too much, just because it's not great against Kuldotha. It's not great against Madness Burn. It doesn't seem great against. There's some matches like that. It doesn't seem amazing. So I feel like maybe 3 is reasonable. But even in those matches, if we just have 4 mana, even with treasures, and are able to do our crazy looping with Shambling Ghast and stuff, which sometimes we can do, then maybe it's worth it. The Buzzard only was played once, and it was killed right away, so I'm not going to say that it was successfully tested or anything like that, but I still think it's a reasonable one to try out here, and I was happy with the extra life staffs in the sideboard. Just having a lot of ways to draw it against those key cards, those key matchups is really good. I will say you can check the counter. The Dross Pits got me more than I got, so I think it's going to stay in for now. As you can see, even with 17 lands in the deck, if we have a reasonably long game or even a medium-sized game, we draw a lot of lands. I don't really know what to do because we certainly can't shave any fewer. We do mulligan a little bit, and I don't think more tap lands is the answer. But I also don't think like Trolls of Khazad-dûm are the answer either. So I'm not really sure what to do about the flooding problem here. Maybe that just means we need more card draw. Maybe a couple corrupted convictioned corruption. Basically Village Rites 2.0. One or two of those in place of maybe one of these reapings. Maybe just like our 16th freebooter might be worth it. And so I probably will try something like that out to try to smooth out the deck a little bit. But I've been having a blast with it. If you haven't tried this deck out yet, please do, especially with this Lifestaff. I think it's the real deal. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.